Hello, seekers of knowledge. Welcome to another episode of Your Pocket DPO, a privacy podcast with your host, Alexandria Stanford. If you're new to the show, I read a privacy policy, break it down, and present it to you. This week, I'm presenting TikTok's privacy policy to you, and you do not want to miss that. But first, let's discuss the reasons behind the bill that was passed by the US House of Representatives in March and is now being deliberated on in the US Senate. The potential ban in the US is a national and international hot potato. Since the goal of this podcast is to discuss data privacy issues, we will peruse the bill to see what the American agency's issues are regarding personal data and national security. TikTok is a short form hosting service owned by the Chinese internet company ByteDance. It was incorporated in the Cayman Islands and is based in both Singapore and Los Angeles with entities in the United States, Australia, and the United Kingdom, which own subsidiaries in the European Union. TikTok hosts user-submitted videos which can range in duration from 3 seconds to 10 minutes. In November of 2022, during a hearing of the House Homeland Security Committee, FBI Director Christopher Wray said that the Bureau has national security concerns about the U.S. operations of TikTok and warned that the Chinese government could potentially use the popular video sharing app to influence American users or control their devices. The director warned about worldwide threats during a 2023 hearing of the committee. After the hearings, Republican lawmakers introduced a bill that could ban the app nationwide. The FBI has for years said that TikTok could pose national security risk, warning that the Chinese government, through its alleged relationship with ByteDance, may be able to control software on millions of devices in the United States or could conduct influence operations through the app. These concerns stem from the Chinese Communist Party's massive sway over private corporations in China, where executives and companies have in the past been punished for not conforming to party lines. In 2020, President Trump, in an executive order, pushed for TikTok to be acquired by Microsoft. However, this attempt failed. Instead, an alliance was formed between TikTok and the software giant Oracle. Oracle then became TikTok's trusted technology partner in the US. In June of 2022, TikTok began routing its US user data through Oracle's cloud infrastructure, and through this, Oracle vetted TikTok's algorithms and content moderation models to ensure they are not being manipulated by the Chinese authorities. This became known as Project Texas. This $1.5 billion project aimed to ensure Americans that TikTok is safe, that their data is secure, and that the platform is free from outside influence. In 2023, the Biden administration sought to regulate TikTok and banned the app from federal devices in February. Furthermore, in March, the House Energy and Commerce Committee held a hearing regarding a potential TikTok ban because of national security concerns and TikTok's impact on children. TikTok CEO Shou Zi emphasized that the data TikTok collects is the same data that, and I quote, is frequently collected by many other companies in the industry, end quote. This is confirmed by independent researchers. TikTok's CEO also states that TikTok is committed to being very transparent with its users about what it collects. On March 5th, 2024, the Bill Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act was introduced by Representative Mike Gallagher. The bill prohibits the distribution, maintenance, or provision of internet hosting services for a foreign adversary controlled application, example, TikTok. However, the prohibition does not apply to a covered application that executes a qualified divestiture as determined by the President. Under the bill, a foreign adversary controlled application is directly or indirectly operated by 1. ByteDance Limited or TikTok, including subsidiaries or successors that are controlled by a foreign adversary, or 2. A social media company that is controlled by a foreign adversary and has been determined by the President to present a significant threat to national security. The prohibition does not apply to an application that is primarily used to post product reviews, business reviews, or travel information and reviews. The bill requires a covered application to provide a user with all available account data, including posts, photos, and videos, at the user's request before the prohibition takes effect. A speaker person for Beijing's Ministry of Commerce said that the People's Republic of China would resolutely oppose the US forcing ByteDance to sell its stake in the US version of TikTok. So, what is the alleged economic impact of the potential TikTok ban? A study authored by Oxford Economics claims that TikTok drove 14.7 billion in revenue in a dozen key sectors in the US economy and contributed 24.2 billion to the overall GDP in 2023. Furthermore, the study said that TikTok provides an opportunity for small and medium-sized businesses to grow by allowing them to market themselves both organically and or through investing in paid advertising and creator marketing. TikTok's impact in the United States is similar to its impact in the European Union and other parts of the world. And like many social media companies, it continues to struggle to meet the GDPR requirements. In September 2023, TikTok was fined 345 million euros by the Irish DPC for violations of children's data. The findings were as follows. 1. The profile settings for child user accounts were set to public by default, meaning anyone on or off TikTok could view the content posted by the child user. 2. Family pairing allowed a non-child user who could not be verified as the parental guardian to pair their account to a child user's account. This allowed the non-child user to enable direct messages for child users, which pose severe possible risk to the child users. 3. The fact that profile settings for child users were set to public by default also posed several possible risks to children under the age of 13 who gained access to the platform. 4. TikTok failed to provide sufficient transparency information to child users. And 5. TikTok implemented dark patterns by nudging users towards more privacy intrusive options during the registration process and when posting videos. In February of this year, an investigation was opened by EU industry chief Thierry Breton into whether TikTok breached online content rules aimed at protecting children and ensuring transparent advertising. Mr. Breton said he decided to conduct an investigation after analyzing the app's risk assessment report and its replies to requests for information. The European Union's Digital Services Act (DSA), which has applied to all online platforms since February 17, requires in particular very large online platforms and search engines to do more to tackle illegal online content and risk to public security. The European Commission said that the investigation will focus on the design of TikTok's system, including algorithmic systems, which may stimulate behavioral addictions and or create so-called rabbit hole effects. It will also probe whether TikTok has put in place appropriate and proportionate measures to ensure a high level of privacy, safety, and security for minors. In addition to this issue of protecting minors, the Commission is looking at whether TikTok provides a reliable database of advertisements on its platform so that researchers can scrutinize potential online risks. If TikTok is found in breach of the DSA's rules, it could face a fine of up to 6% of its global turnover. There will be, of course, more developments on this issue, so continue to follow me for updates on this topic at Your Pocket DPO on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Threads. And now, the answer to the trivia question from last week, which was the largest privacy and data breach to date affected how many records? A. 10.88 billion records. B. 3 billion records. C. 26 billion records across multiple services. Or D. 1.1 billion records. The answer is C. 26 billion records across multiple services. The internet is calling it the mother of all data breaches. The data breach unveiled data from popular sites like LinkedIn, Snapchat, Venmo, Adobe, and X, formerly known as Twitter. The compromised data includes more than just login credentials, according to experts. The majority of the dataset is sensitive, making it valuable for malicious actors. The dataset is extremely dangerous as threat actors could leverage the aggregated data for a wide range of attacks, including identity theft, sophisticated phishing schemes, targeted cyber attacks, and unauthorized access to personal and sensitive accounts. So be extra vigilant about suspicious emails and phone calls. Also, change your passwords to avoid your accounts being hacked. Stay safe, stay private, and stay mysterious, listeners. Okay, now without further ado, it is time to present TikTok's privacy policy. So, the privacy policy states that it applies to personal information that TikTok possesses in connection with TikTok apps, websites, software, and related services. This all together is called the platform. Why is TikTok invading your privacy and processing your data? Who allowed them to do so? So TikTok states it may only use your information when it has a legal basis to do so. It uses different legal bases depending on why it uses your information. In other words, the purpose of their processing. TikTok states that if its user has the legal capacity to enter into an enforceable contract, it uses the information it collects about you where it is necessary to perform the contract you entered into when you registered for access or to use the platform. This means it uses your information to provide you with the platform, to provide you with product orders and deliveries, to enforce its terms, guidelines, or policies, and to administer the platform. TikTok also states that it uses your information where it is necessary to achieve legitimate interests, provided that these interests are not outweighed by your interests or fundamental rights and freedoms. TikTok uses the information it collects to enable users to create content with interactive features, to suggest your account to other users, to provide all users with non personalized advertising, to provide measurement and analytics services, to ensure the safety and well being of its community, to ensure the safety and stability of the platform, to review, improve, promote, and develop the platform, to facilitate independent research, to share your information with third parties, and for marketing communications. If users are under the age of 18, TikTok relies on its legitimate interest to use information it collects from minors to provide the platform, to personalize features and content, to enforce its terms, guidelines, and policies, and to administer the platform. TikTok asks for your consent to access or use your information for specific purposes such as personalized advertising. You will always be able to revoke your consent through your device's permission or in app settings. TikTok may use your information, including your profile information or user content, where it is necessary to comply with a legal obligation. This includes situations where it has obligations to take measures to ensure the safety of its users or comply with a valid legal request, such as an order or disclosure request from regulators, law enforcement agencies, or courts. TikTok may also use your information where it is necessary to perform a task in the public interest, including undertaking research, preventing and detecting crime, safeguarding children and promoting public safety, security, and integrity as laid down by applicable law. And lastly, TikTok may use your information where it is necessary to protect you or someone else's life, physical integrity, or safety. This could include providing law enforcement agencies or emergency services with information in urgent situations to protect health or life. You can find more details listed in the privacy policy. What data is TikTok collecting? TikTok states that it collects information that you provide, such as profile information, user content, direct messages, your contacts, purchase information, information about surveys, research, and promotions, information when you contact TikTok, and information from forms and features you use. TikTok also automatically collects technical information, location information, usage information, information on content characteristics and features, inferred information, and cookies. TikTok also collects information from other sources such as advertising, measurement, and other partners, merchants, payment and transaction fulfillment providers, third-party platforms and partners, and from additional sources such as organizations, businesses, people, and others, including publicly available sources, government authorities, professional organizations, and charity groups. And lastly, TikTok also collects information about you where you are included or mentioned in user content, direct messages, or in a complaint, appeal, request, or feedback submitted by a user or third party, or if your contact information is provided to TikTok by a user. More details on this is listed in the privacy policy. How long will TikTok hold on to this information? TikTok retains information for as long as necessary to provide the platform and for other purposes set out in this privacy policy. TikTok also retains information when necessary to comply with contractual and legal obligations, when it has a legitimate business interest to do so, and for the exercise of defense of legal claims. The retention periods will be different depending on the type of information and the purposes for which TikTok uses the information. For example, when TikTok processes your information to provide you with the platform, it keeps this information for as long as you have an account. This information includes profile information, user content, and direct messages. If you violate its guidelines or terms, TikTok may remove your profile information and or user content from public view immediately, but keep your information as is necessary to process the violation. Who is TikTok sharing your data with? TikTok shares information with service providers and partners such as third party platforms, advertisers, measurement and data partners, and merchants, payment and transaction fulfillment providers. TikTok also shares your information with its corporate group and others, such as users and the public, users of its analytics services, independent researchers, corporate transactions, and competent legal authorities. More details are listed in the privacy policy. Where is your data being sent to outside of the European Union? TikTok states that in order to support its global operations, it stores the information it collects on servers located in the United States, Malaysia, and Singapore. Furthermore, it states that certain entities in its corporate group located outside of your country of residence are given limited remote access to its information so that they can provide certain functions. This access is limited, secure, and only granted when necessary under strict security controls and authorization approval protocols. TikTok shares information with service providers, partners, and third party entities. These third parties can be located outside of your country of residence. These entities are committed to processing your information in compliance with applicable privacy laws and to implement appropriate security measures to protect your information. When information is transferred outside of the European Economic Area, the UK, or Switzerland, TikTok ensures it benefits from an adequate level of data protection by relying on adequacy decisions and standard contractual clauses. More details are found in the privacy policy. And now for the final part of TikTok's privacy policy, the list of your rights. TikTok states that its users have rights and choices when it comes to their information. Some of these rights apply generally, while others will apply in certain circumstances. Depending on the scenario, these rights may be subject to some limitations. For EU data subjects, TikTok Ireland will be responsible for responding to your request within the relevant period provided by law. If necessary to resolve your request, TikTok Ireland will liaise with TikTok UK. For US data subjects, you may be entitled in accordance with applicable law to submit a request through an authorized agent. To designate an authorized agent to exercise choices on your behalf, please provide evidence that you have given such agent power of attorney or that agent otherwise has valid written authority to submit requests to exercise rights on your behalf. Your rights are as follows. You can access your information, delete your information, rectify your information, port your information, object the processing of your information, and restrict the processing of your information. More details on how to exercise these rights are listed in the privacy policy. As I near the end of my podcast, it is time to present my trivia question. And my question is, what is the legal age for consent? A, 18 years. B, 12 years. C, 21 years. Or D, it depends on the country. Think about it, do some research, and let me know in the comments and the poll what the answer could be. And I will share the answer with you in the next episode. Thank you again for sharing your time with me today and gaining some data protection knowledge. And wherever you are in the world, I bid you good day, good evening, and good night. Until next time, bye!